We hear about artificial intelligence pretty much everywhere these days, right? But what we often skip right over is the most critical part of the whole equation, the data it's built on. So today, we're going to show you why data security is way more than just an IT issue. It's actually the secret to creating AI that we can trust.
I mean, have you ever seen one of those AI-generated images where people have like 7 fingers on one hand? Or maybe you've used a translation app that just spits out total nonsense. It happens all the time, and it really makes you wonder, if this tech is supposed to be so smart, why does it get things so spectacularly wrong?
Well, the answer really boils down to a classic old-school principle from the world of computing. Garbage in, garbage out. You see, an AI model is only ever as smart or as accurate or as unbiased as the data you trained it on. So if you feed it messy, incorrect, or incomplete data, you're going to get messy, incorrect, and unreliable results. It's really that simple.
So if bad data is the problem, then it's pretty clear that good data has to be the solution. I want you to think of data as the foundation of a house. You wouldn't try to build a huge skyscraper on a shaky, cracked foundation, would you? Of course not. And in the same way, you just can't build a trustworthy AI on bad data. This is exactly where all these ideas about data security and processing become absolutely crucial. This checklist right here, this is our roadmap. I know, at first glance it might look like a bunch of technical jargon, but trust me, each of these terms represents an essential step we have to take to solve that garbage in problem and to build that solid foundation for our AI.
So let's actually dive in and break this checklist down. We're going to turn these technical terms into a super practical guide for transforming all that raw, messy data, the potential garbage, into the gold that powers really incredible AI. First up is data cleansing. Honestly, the best way to think about it is like prepping food in a kitchen. You always wash your vegetables and cut out any bad spots before you start cooking, right? Well, data cleansing is exactly the same idea. You find and fix, or just get rid of, errors, duplicates, and any irrelevant information so that you're only working with the good stuff.
Okay, so once your data is all clean, you have to verify it. This is basically the fact-checking stage. You're asking, is this data not only clean, but is it actually correct? Data verification makes sure that all the information is accurate and consistent across the entire dataset. It's making sure your clean ingredients are actually what you think they are. Next, we've got data integrity. This one is all about protection. It's the process of making sure that your clean, verified data doesn't get corrupted or accidentally changed at any point. We're talking about its entire life cycle, from the moment it comes in to the moment it's used. Basically, what goes in stays correct from start to finish. Now let's talk about 2 terms that sound really similar but are critically different: lineage and provenance. Think of it this way. Data provenance is all about the origin. It asks, where did this data first come from? Was it a reliable source? Data lineage, on the other hand, tracks its journey. It asks, okay, and where has this data been since it was collected? Who's touched it? What's been done to it? You absolutely need both to fully trust your data. Data augmentation is this really clever technique to make our data work a lot harder for us by basically expanding the data set without collecting new stuff. For instance, if you're training an AI to recognize a cat, you don't just show it one picture. No way! You show it that same picture but flipped, rotated, maybe zoomed in, or in different lighting. You're artificially creating more examples, which makes the AI way smarter and more robust in the long run. And finally, there's data balancing. This one is so important because it's all about preventing bias. Just imagine you're building an AI to help screen resumes, but the data you trained it on is from a company where historically 90% of applicants were men. Well, without balancing, that AI is going to learn to favor male candidates. It's just learning the pattern you gave it. Balancing makes sure all the different categories are represented fairly, which, as you can imagine, leads to much fairer outcomes.
Okay, so let's step back for a second and bring all this together. We've gone through the checklist: cleansing, verifying, balancing. I mean, it sounds like a lot of work, right? So why does going through all this technical trouble really matter in the real world? Well, it's about building an AI that we can actually safely integrate into our society.
Because here's the thing, when you take data security this seriously, you're not just ticking boxes on some technical checklist. You are carefully laying the groundwork for an AI that is more accurate in what it does, more reliable in its performance, and much fairer in its decisions. That makes it safer for all of us to use, and ultimately, that's how it earns our trust. That right there, that's the payoff. And all of this leaves us with one last, pretty big question to think about. If the data we feed an AI essentially becomes its brain, if that data is what shapes its entire worldview,
then who is ultimately responsible for what it learns and the decisions it ends up making? That's something we all really need to consider as this technology becomes a bigger and bigger part of our lives.